Hi, I'm Doug Seeman, Associate Broker with Home Smart Advantage Group, and I do some creative kinds of real estate.
All right, well, today we're going to talk about 3D printing houses. So why don't you just give us a little, like just the basic information about that?
Well, in a nutshell, the concept is you take a printer, like an inkjet printer, and then you scale it up. And just imagine if you were printing a floor plan on an inkjet printer. Well, now instead of using ink, you're using cement. And you will print it again and again and again. And as you do that, you grow vertically and you wind up building a home. So and the nice thing is you not only do the house, but you're doing the footings, you're doing the walls, you're doing the interior walls, you're doing everything right up to the roof. There are printers coming out, they're not on the market yet, that can do roofs, that can do the slab of cement, that can do the entire house.
Cool. So obviously, in terms of cosmetics, like cabinets, it doesn't print cabinets, right?
Doesn't print cabinets, but they have a number of these. They built samples. Usually, these samples of these models are 400 square feet. Not something that someone would use for a home. It's sort of a proof of concept build. And a number of these, they don't finish the interior. They use the texture that's created on the wall as the interior surface. So you're actually printing the living space that the people are going to use. You don't have to finish it with sheetrock and other things. The homes that we're looking to build are going to be sheetrocked on the inside.
So what's the turnaround time? Let's not talk about cost yet. Let's talk about time for the first one, and what's the turnaround time as you get going once you start really producing them?
A lot of these, you see a lot of stuff on the internet where people are claiming they build houses in less than a day, and that's not really the case. First off, they're only printing 300 or 400 square feet, not something that you would use for a home. The turnaround time, once you're printing, the real economy of this is to do like a subdivision, to do 20 or 30 homes. That's where you have the economy. The first home might take you 3 or 4 days to make as you're working out all the details. Once you start getting into production, now you're looking at building homes in less than 48 hours. And I'm talking about an 1,800 to 2,000 square foot home.
And that's way quicker than humans building a house.
Well, it's not only quicker, but instead of having a construction crew with maybe a dozen men doing framing, there are 2 people operating the printer. And there's one person operating the computer, then there's another person making sure that the raw materials are feeding properly and that the hoppers are kept full so that the machine doesn't have to stop. It's very important that the machine doesn't stop. You have a very narrow window between when you lay down one layer of cement and then you lay down a second layer on top. It has to be long enough that it starts to firm up, but fast enough that it's still wet and can bond to the next layer. So you don't wind up with a lot of seams. You have a more solid structure.
Okay. How big is one of these 3D printers?
There aren't a lot of 3D printers around. They have 3D printers that sit in the middle of the home and have an arm that goes out and spins around and draws the house that way. They also have vehicles that drive up and have an arm and it does a section of a home at a time. The printer that we're going to use actually straddles the house. So it can straddle, 40 feet, 45 feet
Wide?
wide, and we can go 3,000 square foot house. So, and you just keep adding sections of track, and the printer runs further and further down the track.
Okay, and so there's a lot of benefits. I mean, it's obviously slightly dangerous building a house with a crew. You can
Right,
get hurt.
it's a lot safer to build houses this way. It's quicker to build houses. It's more sustainable. It's more efficient. The homes can be built with a variety of materials. So, for instance, if you were building a house out of stone. You have to mine the stone. You have to mine the stone, you have to cut the stone, you have to get it ready. If you're making a home out of wood, framing a home conventional wood, it takes 20, 30 years to grow a tree. If you're using it just with cement, you have to dig up all the materials that you're going to use. Although our first couple of homes are going to be cement, and the reason is we need to get these homes approved by a municipality. So they need tried and true formulas, recipes for the cement, that there's numbers available. After we get going, after we do our first half a dozen homes, we're going to transition over to hempcrete. So if you think about hemp, well, depending on how you grow it, you can grow up to 4 fields of hemp in a year, 4 seasons of hemp. So that's very sustainable. You're literally growing your houses. And the hemp will be used to add a strengthening fiber to the cement. So you'll use a lot less cement, and you'll use hemp in there, which will add strength to the home. And it's a more sustainable model.
Yeah. What is the cost of your first house, and what is going to be the cost of the house once you're going production?
We expect that the first home, the very first home we build might be as much as $60 or $70 a square foot. The production number we're working with is $50 a square foot. By time we're moving along, and of course, the larger the home, because you're not printing empty space. So you're making a home larger, you're down to about $35 a square foot.
How much, if I were to just commission someone to buy a house approximately, how much would it be per square foot?
You mean a conventional home?
A conventional way to build a home, approximately. Let's just say no super bells and whistles.
I couldn't answer that because I don't have the information. I can tell you as a real estate agent that you can't build an addition. You can't build additions on a home for less than $100 a square foot. So I would imagine even on a construction site and looking at the prices of new homes, you're probably pretty close to $80 to $100 a square foot.
So it's half the cost once you get going.
It's going to be half the cost. Plus, don't forget when you're building the home, you have framers building the walls and doing the exterior work. Different framers doing the interior work. Each thing with these homes, the same printer is printing the interior walls, the exterior walls, the features. You can even program these to print a texture on the outside of the home. So you don't necessarily have to stucco it or finish it or anything else.
What does this mean for architects?
Well, right now everybody's building boxes, square boxes. Architects make fancier and fancier square boxes. Sometimes they make triangular boxes or trapezoids. These homes can be shaped like balls. They can be shaped like the onion top homes that you see at the Taj Mahal. I mean, they can be shaped like anything, shaped like spaceships. You can, anything your imagination can do. The 3D print, now the 3D printers that we're using have limitations. They can work vertical, they can cant at a slight angle, but they can't do roofs. The new printers that are coming out next year that we'll be working with, they can do everything. They can go horizontal, they can go vertical, they can do the slabs on the ground, they can do roof lines. So once you're doing that, I don't know how much of a savings cost there'll be on materials, but there'll be a dramatic savings cost on labor. So if you're building a house and you can continue and build a roof and close the house off, well, first off, the inside of the house never gets wet, is never exposed to weather. So that right there is a feature. You don't have to worry about weather on building days because now your house is already enclosed. It could be raining outside, wind could be blowing in, you could still have your contractors working inside putting the finish in the house. So that there's just so many benefits you get from this. And in 10 years, this is the way all houses are going to be built.
So you think that this is the future?
This is the future. It doesn't make sense to chop down trees to build houses. If I would not be investing in lumber, let's say, lumber will the trees will be saved for artistic beauty that you get from a tree. They might be used for finished materials, but there won't be a need anymore to cut up trees to use as framing inside a house.
So there's just too many benefits for it not to catch on.
It really is. It's the better way to work. It's more sustainable. You say, well, you're going to be putting people out of work. You're putting all of these home builders out of work. But the reality is, if the homes are more affordable and the homes can be built faster, you're going to build more homes. So maybe the trade that they're doing, framing a house, maybe there'll be less framers out there, but those same construction workers would shift to other parts, because we're going to need a lot more finished people that can do good quality work, finish the interiors, put in cabinets, install windows, doors, all the other things that go along with the house.